Every morning in my 5-minute cut, I share with you life quotes from my life book that have changed my life. Today, I'm going to share with you life quotes from Dale Carnegie's The Art of Self-Management, which is a gem of a book. It's a book that came out about 100 years ago, and yet it's had a tremendous impact on me in the year 2024. And I think it's because the things that are in it are not fads or trends of a particular era or national author, but rather universal values in our human lives. I'm particularly struck by the part about when fate gives you lemons, make lemonade out of them. Dale Carnegie quotes Nietzsche as saying, "The more I study the lives of successful people, the more I am convinced that the secret of their success was the handicap they had in the first place. The more they worked to overcome their handicaps, the more they were rewarded. Our weaknesses help us in unexpected ways." Dale Carnegie went on to say that Beethoven, who was deaf, Helen Keller, who was blind and deaf, Tchaikovsky, whose tragic marriage brought him to the brink of suicide, Dostoevsky, who lived a tortured life, and Charles Darwin, who was so weak that he was very ill as a child, were not from aristocratic families, did not go to Harvard, and did not have happy marriages. Abraham Lincoln, who was born in a cabin in the woods in Canterbury, New Hampshire. There are so many examples of people who had tremendous disadvantages to begin with, and yet they succeeded. But you might be thinking, well, sure, they had weaknesses, but they also had great talent. Or maybe you're like, I know that sounds good, but I'm in a really bad place right now. For those people, Dale Carnegie has another piece of advice. Maybe you're so discouraged that you think there's no hope of turning lemons into lemonade. But there are 2 reasons to keep trying. First, you might succeed. Second, even if you don't succeed, the very act of trying to turn a minus into a plus has been shown to change negative thinking into positive thinking. So in short, you have nothing to gain and nothing to lose in this endeavor. William Lyle, the author of The Simians Against God, also said that the most important thing in life is not to capitalize on your pluses, because only a fool could do that, but to turn your minuses into pluses, because we're usually afraid of risky things and want to avoid them. But the truth is, you have nothing to lose by trying to turn your minus, your weakness, into a plus. There's no risk involved. I used to think about this a lot, and I wondered why most people don't make this risk-free effort. I concluded that it's because of the stereotypes that we have. If you're a violinist and you're playing on stage and one of your strings breaks, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to think you can't continue playing because the violin doesn't have a lot of strings like a harp. It's only 4 strings, and one of the strings is broken. And that's because of the stereotype that you can't play a violin with 3 strings. So if you break a string in the middle of a performance, you have to stop and switch to another instrument, because you can't play with that instrument anymore. But Dale Carnegie tells this story. It's a true story about a world-renowned violinist, Aubrey, who was performing in Paris, and one of the strings on his violin suddenly broke, and he finished the performance with the 3 strings that he had left. And that's what life is all about. If you break a string, you still finish the performance with the 3 strings that you have left. And that's not just life. The reason why this part of what I've been saying resonates with me so much is because of what I've been through. I wasn't born healthy, and I was a victim of a real estate scam early on in my life, when my friends were saving up and getting married, and it was because of that I was able to grit my teeth and study investing, which is how I'm able to have the financial freedom that I have today. And then there was a painful period of time in my career where I didn't have a work-life balance, where I lived with the fear every day that I was going to be really overworked, unlike some of my colleagues in the same company. But when I look back on it, it ended up being my biggest asset in my career, in terms of being able to build my expertise and my reputation earlier than everyone else. How many bad things are your handicaps that are holding you back and hindering your life? In closing, I want to say this. There's never anything bad in life. There's only you who thinks it's bad. Thanks for watching to the end. I hope you had a great day.